What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Girls with Goals with your hosts, Anne Catherine
and Caroline.
Today, we're going to be talking about decision fatigue and why you should stop making decisions.
Essentially, stop making so many decisions.
Stop making them.
Stop making them. Stop making everything so complicated.
Stop making them such a big deal.
Yes. Or stop making little things seem like they're the biggest decisions in the world.
True.
I do it.
I'm so indecisive when it matters, but you get better. I feel like once you start talking and thinking more about decision fatigue and just like knowing in the back of your mind what it is and how getting rid of some decision fatigue can help you, I feel like then you start filtering what is an important decision to like do a double take on and what is something that you can just choose and let it be.
Yeah, and Catherine introduced the idea of decision fatigue for me.
I heard it
a long time ago, probably like a year ago or something. You mentioned it. And it's like a concept that I don't think you hear about much. I don't think that I had really heard of it before, but it makes a ton of sense. And when you like think about it in your life, or I guess like Catherine said, when you have that in the back of your mind, like now you know what it is, you'll see yourself throughout the day and throughout your life making so many little decisions that you don't need to. And you'll kind of
just use it. As we go through our days, there's so many things that like require decisions, even if they're subconscious decisions, but they all add up. So we'll get into decision fatigue, but you guys know we start every episode highs, lows, goals. But it's a double week. We're hitting you with a double week because we had a guest episode last week. So these guys, you already know I'm going to be locked and loaded with 17 highs of the week. And spoiler alert on the lows, because I like write them down before we start. This is none.
Wow.
Well, like I could scrounge some up, but overall, like,
I know.
Do I have any lows?
We've been so focused on the good recently.
We talked about this so backtracking. This last week, we were in LA visiting some friends. You guys, if you've been around, you know these people, you know our friends that we visit, you know we always have such a good time. These friends are energy givers. And we always talk about it too, because we do see them, like, we see the entire group maybe once a year at this point, and then we'll see. We've actually seen subgroups. We've seen one of our friends like quite frequently in the last month just because we've overlapped a lot.
Essentially, we have some family friends who we've known like since childhood who live in Hermosa Beach in California, so like a beachy area of LA. And in the past like few years, we've also befriended like their cousin and their friends as we've gone and visited. So being together with that entire group is super fun, but we do luckily get to see like our direct family friends a little bit more often because we just kind of bounce around a little bit more in that smaller group. But
yeah, but it's always fun. Number one, being there and being in LA and being in Hermosa Beach because it's just such a gorgeous place. And number two, being with our friends there because, like I said, we talk about it all the time. Like as a group, it's a nice break from reality, I guess, because we only see each other every so often, and it's always so energy giving, even though we may be taking a little bit more of a break from work or adjusting workouts to be more of like, instead of, doing a whole like 2-hour workout in the gym, we're gonna hit a quick session and then like go for a walk together. Yeah. So even though some of our daily routines kind of change when we're all together, it's so beneficial for all of us, and we always leave. And throughout the trip, like, everyone is just so happy.
Yeah. And Catherine and I, because we're both doing internships this semester, we were working online while we were there, but California's 3 hours behind Boston. So our workday was shifted to, like, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. So we would be clocked in on our computers at 6 a.m. And then by 2 in the afternoon, we were done, which was honestly perfect rather than working a 9 to 5. I'm like, I would rather just get up early.
It was a little tough being like, oh, I went to sleep at, like, 2 a.m. last night, and now I have to wake up at 5:30 and like do a whole work day.
That wasn't every night though. Most nights I was pretty good with sleep.
If you guys remember last year's trip,
we went last summer.
It was like,
it was really bad sleep.
It was bad. Some of us, me, didn't sleep for 6 days straight. I slept maybe max like 1, 2, maybe 3 hours.
Right.
Every single night. But it was so much fun, unmatched for so many reasons. Like it was just time.
I think I left the trip this week feeling, like Catherine said, very energized and very inspired, and it just is something to think about with people, also with things, but I think specifically with people, like we're saying, your friends, like you should leave being with friends or family or whoever the people are, feeling energized, feeling inspired, feeling lighter. Like no people should be draining your energy. I think that is a very immediate green or red flag. And I also think people who like you don't feel like you're changing your entire lives, like your lifestyles and your values and stuff match up enough, or you guys are supportive of each other enough that it doesn't feel like a total break of your life. I know we've been on vacations with like friends and groups of people and stuff in the past where I have felt like I've been so shifted out of my regular life that it's almost more draining when you come back, and it's like knocked me out completely. And so that just became very apparent to me after this, coming back and feeling like not tired after a trip, like not drained and actually energized. I was like, wow, that is like a serious green flag versus some like perhaps red flags are not perfect matches in the past.
Yeah, I started talking about this with one of our friends who we were there with. It was him and I in the car. We were driving, talking about other people in our lives and realizing that we left feeling drained, or we left feeling more negative. And even though it was like fun and good and lovely in the moment when you're with them, when you leave, you feel like, oh my God, I have so much to catch up on. I've like that time maybe wasn't as valuable in the long term, and you just feeling a little bit down. And then we were contrasting it with like, well, how do we feel when we're all together? And that's how we were like, we feel so good. Like this is such an energy giver of a relationship. And we did an energy givers and takers episode
in the past, about a year ago.
But I absolutely love the concept of energy givers and takers, and the most basic ones that I come back to, and like you guys know I come back to these all the time, are sun, gym, movement, like being outside, nutrition, and people are the huge ones. And for me, people are...
And I think those are equally givers versus when they're absent, they're huge drainers for me too. Those
or
are
if
just the
people
things
are...
that really make a difference.
Or if people are more the drainers category than like the energy givers category. But so it's nice to have and spend time with people who are energy givers for you. So that was kind of this whole week, and it was awesome.
Yeah, my only low, I would say, is the weather was not very good. It was quite cold, it was quite rainy, and like, you know, you want a beach vacation when you're in Boston and it's already cold and snowy here. But we did still do all the things. We did still go to the beach, even if we didn't sit at the beach. We walked around the beach. We both jumped in the ocean once, even though it was freezing. We got some acai bowls. We did all of the things. So
we're doing all the things.
It was still a good time.
One day it was like
it was
hurricane raining, and it was...
That's when I swam in the ocean, which was honestly so fun. I swam like in the pouring rain. The beach was absolutely stranded except for friends and I. It was fun.
I'd say it was a high.
Well, I came back and honestly I was like, I want to give the West Coast a try for real one day. I think that we would do really well there. Or people not do always really well think there, but I think that we would enjoy it. Like I think it's worth a shot.
We were on a call with someone the other day, and they're like, oh, where are you based? Because, you know, you get on a Zoom call with someone who's like, you've never met. You're like, oh, where are you? Where are you based? And they're like, oh, you guys are based in like California, right? We're like, Boston.
Right.
It's because every time we're there, we end up like taking so many pictures, and our podcast cover is from like the beach there.
Well, I also think that like the coast of New Hampshire in
True.
the summer
in the
where
summer,
we're from, it's so like, and that's like when we thrive. In the East Coast is in the summer as well.
I thrive.
So like honestly, I would love to give a shot to the West Coast one day and just see how it goes. So that might
we most definitely will.
We most definitely will.
Mark your calendars.
One day.
Another high was, so like I was saying, our podcast like cover art is a picture of Karen and I on the beach from 2 summers ago. That would be in LA with our friends. Like they took it, and we were back there wearing our merch, which is also, if you guys don't have merch or haven't seen it yet, it's like my favorite thing. It's a little sneaky thing. It's our podcast cover with us taken out. So it's just like, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't have to know. But like, if you're in on it, you know that's the cover. So we went back to that beach, and naturally, Carol and I were both wearing hoodies with it. So we were like, this is... So we had a little mini photo shoot. It was awesome. So cool.
And so now we have photos of us in the same spot in the same beach wearing our podcast hoodies, like 2 years later, or like
the beach on
with the beach on the back of the hoodie,
which is kind of cool. I think the day we took those pictures, we were walking home, and that's when like
we started talking about podcasts.
We had talked about it
as a podcast.
Yeah, we just took it as a picture.
As a picture of us.
But when we were coming back from like that beach trip where we took the picture that is our cover photo now, I think Cal and I had already talked about starting a podcast like 2 years ago, and then we're just chatting away with our friends walking home from the beach, and we're like, should we start a podcast? Like, would you guys listen? And then they're like, yeah, I would listen. And that's like, I don't know, that's so ingrained in my brain because it was the first time we kind of floated the idea. And then from there, we didn't really think much more of it, and we just started. And here we are.
Yeah. And if anybody, I know we get messages often of people like wanting to start their own podcast or any creative pursuit or any dream you have or anything. Like, remember that for anybody who's doing it now, at one point it was just an idea. Like, at one point, it was not something that they had developed. It was not something that they were successful at. It was not their thing. It was just something that was an idea, and they decided to do it, and they started. So that's really all you need to do as well. I'm just saying, because we get messages like that a lot, and I'm like, you absolutely can, because 2 years ago, we said, let's do this. And now, you know, we just continue to work at it, and we are where we are, and we continue to love it.
Whenever the podcast TikTok gets, like, hate comments, it's always men commenting, like, we should start a podcast. You're like
you just give everyone a mic these days.
But like when someone says direct quote, like, let's start a podcast, and they mean it in a derogatory, like, this sucks, you shouldn't have a podcast, like, let's start a podcast, like, everyone says that type of way. But I'm like, yeah, that is how it started. Like, that is how it started, and now it's like our thing.
Yeah.
So shut up, move on. But thank you for the comment. So kind. That's like the go-to whenever something goes a little bit, you know, when a video on TikTok like hits the wrong audience, it's like pressed people with no profile picture, user 123456, being like, not everyone needs a podcast. And I'm like, or if they want one, they can. If you don't want one, you don't need one.
No one's forcing you to do anything. Anyways, do you have a goal for the week?
Oh yeah, I don't know how to articulate it. I was thinking about this before, but so we all know, I wake up, go to the gym. I'm a morning gym person. I truly am. And then I go to work. And I've been walking to work because the gym is kind of halfway between home and work. So it's like on the way, and it's kind of perfect. And the train, Boston subway, like, get it together.
The trains, they're late.
They're late. It takes me longer. Yeah. I have to walk halfway even. Like, my office is nowhere near a subway station, so I'm walking half the way anyway. So I end up just walking, and it's really nice. But I have a bag on my arm with, like, my computer work stuff, just like that. And then I have a backpack with all my gym stuff, and it is so heavy. Precisely. If you guys aren't watching, Caroline was acting out me holding a bag on my arm and a backpack on my back. P.S. If you do want to watch...
This episode's on YouTube.
These episodes are on YouTube.
Or you can continue to listen on Spotify and Apple, and you can leave a rating and a 5-star review. No, wait, that's the same thing. Rating.
No, on Apple you can leave Apple you can leave comments.
A review.
You can leave a review.
Comments on Spotify. You can leave a rating. Anyways, we appreciate any of that so much. Love you guys.
Now that that's done, soft plug. So I'm walking with my backpack, my bag. It gets heavy because it's like, it's not a short walk, but it's a really nice walk. And if I didn't have anything on my back, like, it would be a lovely, lovely time. So sometimes if I know I'm going to the gym afterwards as well, say I have FOMO and all my friends are going to the gym, I will go and, like, stretch. And so I'll leave my stuff at the gym so I can pick it up on my way home. And it's perfect because I don't have to carry things to the gym.
You just have to pop back in, though.
And this week I also want to do, like, more stretching and, like, relaxing. So, like, a steam room session at night would be lovely. So I'm thinking my goal is gym in the morning, hit a good workout, a good lift on my way home, because it is, like, it's directly on my way home. It's an easy stop. I leave my stuff, nice walk, pick my stuff up. When I'm back, hit a stretch, see my friends, hit a steam room, go home, have a lovely sleep.
That's actually a really, really, like, it's very time consuming, and it's maybe not realistic to do every day, but when you are wanting to prioritize, like, stretching and resting, that gives you much more discipline around it, because stretching, as
it would be like 15
simple
minutes
and enjoyable as it is, I don't do it. Like,
it would literally be 15 minutes on the back end of my day.
Yeah, and you could steam room every day and feel so
and, like,
nice
showering at the gym, which is nicer than the apartment shower right here. So that is my goal, I think. It's not like that's why I was saying I don't know how to articulate it, because it's not like hit a double session at the gym, because no, I'm going to burn out from that. But yeah, having that be my daily routine this week, or at least some days this week, is something I want to do. Because when I do that, I really enjoy it.
Cool. I want to cook some food. I feel like it's been a while since I've cooked myself good food at home. I don't know. We were traveling last week, and
We cooked
the
one
week
night.
before,
We cooked one night.
We did.
One of our friends has been on a bison kick, so he eats like bison and rice for dinner.
Bison and rice
so
and
we're
some
like,
frozen veggies.
all right, we're eating bison tonight.
It was great.
It was so good. I love that. My favorite, like, I do like a red meat. I do. Trader Joe's has a good one.
Beef. Yeah.
Ground beef.
So
That I like.
I just think that in this apartment with work lately, the past couple weeks, I've gotten lazy with cooking and food. And not that I want to do anything complicated and in-depth, but I do just want to, like, cook things for myself, cook some veggies. I had, when we were in LA, I got roasted carrots that were so good. And so I bought myself some rainbow carrots yesterday. I want to roast those.
It was like a hot bar situation we were going because I really wanted
a specific drink at a specific
drink, like
grocery store.
Sue me. Like, it was awesome. You know what I did? So the ones I wanted were, they're like functional mushroom based drinks or like non-alcoholic beverages almost. So it's like it's like a beverage. It's a beverage. It's lovely. And I had one. I didn't know this, but I had some left in the fridge from like last time I was there.
What?
And yeah, isn't that crazy? No, it wasn't opened. It's a can, Caroline.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh.
I would hope in the 9 months that I've been away that it would have been thrown out.
I wouldn't put it past them.
I put a chicken. I didn't finish. I was like cooking chicken and I didn't cook a singular chicken breast, so I put it like in a container in the fridge. And I was like, someone be sure to eat this. And everyone went silent and they were like, it's not gonna, like, everyone's gonna forget. Like, it's a bunch of boys fending for themselves in that house. Like, it's silly.
They're not gonna get to that.
Anyway, so I went to this grocery store, got the drinks I wanted. They were lovely. They were delicious. I was 2 or 3 across the week. Like, it was awesome. So happy. And one night,
we got roasted carrots at the hot bar is really the full point of this.
Okay, well, this is important. This is so important.
What else?
Because one night we were like, we were bartending for ourselves. And we were like, what can we, no, this is after you had gotten to sleep.
Oh, I was.
This was why it was
so
so crazy.
Was up all night and I wasn't.
I wouldn't say that. It was like 3 of us. We're like, what can we mix? Everyone wanted something different, and so I went into like the fridge where like drinks are, and I pulled out a drawer. You know how a drink fridge like it has a drawer on top. Sure. So it was hidden. No one knew it was in there, and I was like, this is mine. Like, these are mine from 9 months ago, from like the summer. This is, and then I it was like a fun little surprise. Oh, they were awesome.
That is great.
It was crazy.
So I got carrots that I'm gonna roast, and I just wanna eat well. You know, feel healthy. I feel like the goal is always just
always just to feel good.
Always just to feel good. Just want to feel healthy, and I think the number one thing that could like do that for me this week is a little bit of nutrition.
Ugh. Today, Caroline, what did I say?
I don't know what you said.
Oh, I was like, can I eat your ground? Because we both went to the store today, like got some ground beef. Got some ground beef, like the same one. The Trader Joe's one that I was just saying I loved. And so obviously.
And Kathleen cooked hers and ate it yesterday. She asked me if she could cook mine tonight to like pack it for lunch. And I said, you ate your ground beef whole pack yesterday? Like, full ground beef pack.
Like, and she said, was my lunch and dinner.
Okay, that makes sense. I know. But I just got concerned for a second. I was like, are you, like, did you have any vegetables with that? Are you having any micronutrients?
I had broccoli with it.
Okay.
I wasn't just raw dogging some ground
sure,
beef
though, because you
with no
do that
sides.
Sometimes, so I was just.
I would do that, absolutely.
I know, I was just checking. I know you drink greens every day, but I just want to be sure that you're getting some vegetables.
Me, like freshman year, when it was like a dining hall situation. Like I had no cooking. I ate little Greek yogurt cups, like takeaway from the dining hall because I lived like far from the dining hall.
Yeah.
I ate little Greek yogurt cups, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. No micronutrients.
Awful.
Horrendous. It was so bad. I don't know how I like functioned. I felt so gross for 4 months. Ugh. Anyway.
Decision fatigue.
What
is it? What does it mean?
Okay. So I think decision fatigue comes in 2 ways. Essentially, like Spark Notes, quick version. Mm-hmm. Decision fatigue is when you're constantly making decisions, you spend energy on every decision you make. Mm-hmm. By the time you've like reached your quota for the day, you have no more energy left to make decisions, and that's when you've hit decision fatigue. So I think it comes in 2 ways. The first way is that you make so many choices throughout the day that you reach your quota, and then you don't have the energy to make a choice at the end of the day at all. Mm-hmm. I think like scientifically this is the original basis of decision fatigue, and that is like maybe this is decision fatigue. I think of it macro as well. So the micro is throughout the day, 24 hours, you're making decisions, you're making choices. Even if you don't know it, you get to the end of the day, you're tired, you're exhausted, you've hit decision fatigue, you can't make any more decisions. Or you're just lazy. So macro-wise is another way I think of it, is long-term, the same setting. So instead of 24 hours, call it a week, call it a month, call it a year. When you repeatedly are making decisions, especially in the same sector, you get tired. You don't want to make decisions anymore. And that manifests not in like, oh, I'm going to preset make all these decisions. It manifests in I'm not even going to make this decision at all. I'm not going to do it. And that can apply to so many things. It can apply to like getting dressed in the morning, what workout you're going to do, what you're going to make for dinner, everything. Like how you're going to clean your apartment. There's one thing, I've definitely said this on the podcast before, but like my main takeaway from my entire high school learning situation was from English class. We were doing like vocab, and the vocab word was apathy, and we had to write a sentence using the word apathy, and someone or Google or my teacher said like choice breeds apathy. So when you're faced with a million choices, think about it. You go to an ice cream shop. If the options are chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, what are you going to choose? Oh, I like chocolate. I'm going to get chocolate. But if the choices are like, there are 100 plus flavors, 30 of which are chocolate based, what the fuck are you supposed to choose then? Like, you're so overwhelmed by choices that you're like, oh my God, I don't even want ice cream. Like, this is obscene. Like, I'm stressed right now. Imagine being stressed choosing ice cream. Like, the less you have to choose from, the easier it is to make a choice.
But like, you have certain values and systems and routines that are almost on autopilot.
Right. An autopilot, not in the sense of like autopilot like detached. You're not
enjoying
but them. Autopilot like I'm so good with this, it's set, it's foundational, then I can move on.
Yeah. I think a huge thing when people, and it goes into habit building a little bit as well, but a huge thing when people are wanting to build a workout routine and go to the gym, if you're every day deciding when am I going to go, what am I going to do, what am I going to wear, how am I going to get there, like if you're having to remake those decisions every day, it adds so much stress to what should be an enjoyable thing, and it adds so many layers to this decision that create roadblocks from you actually doing it and then exhaust you before you're actually doing it, because you're like, every day you're like, what am I gonna do, and then you're searching for a workout to do, versus if you can kind of give it a little bit more time in the beginning to build a routine so that every day you have it already planned out, you know what you're doing. You know, if you can start building the habit that way.
Right. Once those choices become foundational, once you become so solid in the choices that you don't have to make them anymore, now you have space for the next level of choices, for like the next realm of things to decide and evolve into. Yeah. So it's ever growing, like as everything is. We always say this. The natural evolution of life, like this is kind of a mini version of it. Because when you first go to the gym, you're going to every day start, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do today? And then you hit a point where you're like, oh, today's leg day. What weights am I going to use? What machines am I going to use? What exercises am I going to do? And as you grow and evolve in that, then you set your routine so that I don't even have to think a lot anymore. I'm like, oh, it's leg day. I'm going to start here. I'm going to hip thrust. I'm going to warm up. I'm going to blah, 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 blah. Like it just goes. Now I have space for, instead of having to spend energy making decisions on what am I going to do, I can spend it on how am I going to do this and actually doing it. Yeah. So while I'm doing my workout, I can be like mind muscle connection focused. I can think, oh, this feels like a good weight, or I should move up, I should move down, like let me do my thing. So I have so much more space and availability to focus on the smaller details because I'm not wasting energy on the more macro questions. That said, you need to kind of evolve into that. Like you can't go to the gym first day and be like so deep into it, like know everything you're doing. Like it takes time to build up to that, but once you get there, you can eliminate some of those decisions.
You can even eliminate some in the very beginning though by having a set time that you're going to go every day and having your playlist, having your gym playlist, so that you're not like, what music am I going to listen to? What am I going to listen to here? Like there are always ways to streamline, if you will.
Yeah. So I think choices in the sense of like over the course of the day with decision fatigue, you wake up, what am I going to put on? What am I going to wear? what time am I going to leave? What am I going to eat for breakfast? Like, do I want coffee or tea this morning? Do I want like cream and sugar in my coffee? Like,
how am I going to do my hair?
How am I going to do my hair? How am I going to do my makeup? What music am I going to listen to in the car on the way or on my walk to work?
What time do I have to leave?
Yeah, you're thinking, you're making choices, you're doing all these things throughout the day. Obviously, if you're at work, at school, you're thinking, you're making decisions like just moving through the day. You get home, like, what do I want to eat?
Yeah.
And you're so exhausted. This is like the most classic thing I feel like is what should I cook?
You're going to cook something at
because
the
you've
end of the day.
spent the whole day making little choices. Like even
you go on a lunch break at work and you go to Sweet Green and you're like, okay, what am I going to get? What base, what protein, what this, what topping, what dressing, and is it going to all work together? And then how much is it going to cost? Should I pay for extra protein for the chicken, or am I going to have a protein shake later? But I already, things just spiral.
You're just thinking, and like I do that all the time, like constantly.
Like a constant running, my mind is constantly running. I'm like, I just got my hair done yesterday, so I don't really want to get that sweaty in the gym because I like the way my hair is blown out, but I also want to have a good workout. So what can I do where I'm going to like have a good workout but also not sweat that much? And then I want to sit in the steam room, but if I do, then my head will probably sweat anyways, so I might as well just do sprints and get sweaty to begin with. But then I need to take longer to shower, so I should probably leave a bit, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So say you're going to dinner with friends.
If that stressed you out.
Yeah, it stressed me out. The edge of my seat. So say you're going to dinner and someone says, we're going to dinner. What do you want? What do you want to eat? Where do you want to go? How many times have you answered that question? I don't know. I don't care. You choose. You don't want to make this decision because a few things could sound good to you. You could be happy with a lot of things, and there's so many options that it's like, well, I don't mind.
Now suddenly
you're
want
apathetic.
Yeah. Or you're trying to pick a Netflix movie. How many times have you tried to pick a movie
then
watched nothing? Because no one can decide. You got to go into it and be like, movie or show? And then what genre? Because if you're just like, let's watch a movie and you're just scrolling through Netflix without even a genre in mind, you're not going to pick a movie because the choices are so overwhelming that like everything seems bad. And you haven't like narrowed it down to like, I know I want to watch a rom-com. I know I want to watch an action movie. Like,
last week.
So you're just like scrolling.
Last week with our friends, we were in the living room like about to watch a movie. Like it was after dinner. We're just hanging out. There are 6 of us sitting in that room. We're scrolling. One goes to sleep. We're scrolling. Another goes to sleep. We're scrolling. Another one goes to sleep. We're down to 3 people. We're scrolling. It's been an hour and a half of scrolling for a movie.
No movie was watched.
And then someone was like, oh, I have to go home. Like, I'm about to, like, and we're like, all right, that was a crazy movie. And then, so like, if they have to go home in 30 minutes, we can't start a movie. So they played chess. And I was like, we sat like through an hour and a half of scrolling through a movie and we didn't even watch a movie.
And it happens so often.
It happens
you guys have
so
all done
often.
That.
And I wasn't even mad about it. Like, we were still hanging out, having fun. It was just so funny that we couldn't choose a movie. But then the next night, we like chose the first movie that came up.
Because you almost have to. You almost have to choose your first choice.
It was crazy.
Simplify it.
Okay. So back to my example.
Yes.
Of you're going to dinner. Someone says, what do you want? You say, I don't care. I don't know. You choose, blah, blah, blah. Someone says, we're going to dinner. Do you want Mexican, Japanese, Italian? Or, better yet, we're going to dinner. Do you want restaurant name? Like, you're hit with 3 options. Or 4. Or 2. Now you're in a position to be like, oh, I want the Japanese restaurant.
Yeah.
Or
it's an easy tell if you really want something else and you think of those options and they aren't satisfying you, it might, like, your brain might quickly streamline to what you actually want. Instead of...
Way to just take my point.
Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or, so you say, oh, I want the Japanese restaurant. Or you say, you know what? I don't actually want any of those options tonight. I want X restaurant instead. Yeah. Then when you're hit with, like, options and you simplify it, then you can actually make a valuable and, like, important decision, I guess.
Yeah. Ways that I feel like just in your own life you can apply the things that we've talked about so far are, 1, routines, like autopiloted routines where you feel like you're actually in the moment and enjoying it when you're doing it, but you don't have to invent what you do every single time. You know, you have your certain morning routine, and yeah, that can flex as it goes, but like, you know, you always wash your face and you brush your teeth, and when you go to the gym, you know you go at a certain time and you know the route you get there, and you have your set playlist and you know pretty much day by day what you're gonna do. Like, you're taking all of these little decisions out of it that all add up so much. And also, instead of sometimes, if you like want to do something new, like if you're going to the gym and you don't know what you want to do, and you're overwhelmed with like, you can literally do anything, give yourself some choices. Like, do I want to spin, or do I want to do a leg lift? You know, give yourself a couple options instead of being like, what am I gonna do?
Right, because all those choices, they're all always available to you.
Yeah.
It's just that when you simplify it, you will actually make a choice.
Yeah. Or next time you watch a movie with friends, narrow down the genre.
I think with decision fatigue that it's a balance between quality and quantity. Because, I mean, we've talked a lot about the quantity of decisions. Number one, making less decisions throughout the day so you have more energy sustained throughout the day to make decisions. And two, quantity in the sense of, like, limit your choices from infinite to, like, 3. Quantity. Quality is filtering what needs contemplation and more energy spent on it in order to make a decision, or if it's kind of negligible. Irrelevant. And I mean, all decisions are relevant because everything that you're doing throughout the day, even if it's like, oh, here's a bunch of bananas, what banana do I want? Like, you have to choose one banana out of the bananas. Like, you have to make that decision, even if it's subconsciously. I know that sounds silly and stupid and little, but when that happens 30 times in the span of an hour, because it does, even if you're not realizing it, that really adds up. So the quality side of it is, number one, filtering. So filtering what is important to you and what is going to have a longer lasting impact. So what banana you choose doesn't really matter. Like, maybe one has a bruise, like maybe there's a better option, but truly it's just like, you're going to eat a banana regardless of if you choose the left one or the right one.
What flavor protein powder are you going to put in your smoothie? I could contemplate that for like 10 minutes, and at the end of the day, it's just not a life-changing decision.
But something like, am I going to go to the gym or not today? That's a little bit bigger. Am I gonna
what am I going to wear to my first day of work or school? That might be something like that you care about a little more.
Yeah.
Even though I guess your clothing's a little bit less important than like
no, that
anything
clothing
else.
is
But,
a huge
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Clothing
like
is a huge one.
Like, that would actually change how
that's
you
like
feel.
that's a huge one.
Okay,
Think of it. You're
ready.
getting ready for something. You go through your entire closet. I have nothing to wear.
Yeah.
You've been
when you have so many options,
you've been in
you have
overdrive.
nothing to wear.
Yeah. Or if it's an actual decision, like, should I quit my job? Should I take this? Like, blah 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 blah.
Right.
Like huge decisions.
Right.
But those are a little harder to come up with, like, in a general sense. So there is a scale, there is a range of what is unimportant or more quality decision. And I think besides things like, should I quit my job? Should I, like, move across the country? Should I blah, 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 like the big ones, it comes down to personal preference.
Like, what actually matters and feels like it's going to have the biggest impact.
Yeah, or what you want to be spending your energy on when you're making decisions. So a few things that I have kind of applied, being aware of decision fatigue to are, one, clothing. Because I have to go, I'm, like, working in person every single day. I can't wear sweats every single day. I can't, like, I'm wearing a bodysuit and sweats right now. Like, I can't wear that in an office. I would throw some pants on. I'd throw some pants on, but it also has to look good. Like, I can't wear bright red pants in this, like, olive green bodysuit.
It would look like Christmas. It'd be silly.
It'd be heinous. Like, personally, for me, like, I wouldn't be into that. Like, I want to be wearing something, if I'm wearing something for the whole day, that I'm comfortable in, physically confident. And, like, mentally, you know? So that takes effort and planning. And also, like, God forbid I wear the same outfit twice in a week. Like, you gotta plan ahead, you know what I mean?
Right. And there's a lot of little decisions.
What
top
and,
what bottoms, and what's the weather going to be like, and then what shoes do I have to wear with it, and is my hair going to be dirty or clean, because that would look better with my hair down than up. Blah, blah,
True.
Blah, blah, blah.
So what I have been doing is, like, yes, I'm an outfit repeater. I know what outfits or, like, what clothes are kind of put together, and most of my clothes are white, black, brown, or tan. So those are my favorite colors. Or like this is a green.
I got some pink, I got some blue. I think red and orange looks good on me as well. Anyways.
So thank you for that. That was awesome. Speaking of, she was wearing our friend's like orange sweatshirt because it was in the living room. She put it on and she goes outside while it's raining. You took off the sweatshirt while you were outside in the rain, and we went out after and it was sitting there soaking wet. And I was like, oh, you put it on, you put on a sweatshirt because you're like, oh, it's raining outside. I need a sweatshirt to go outside. Yeah, and then you took the sweatshirt off in the rain, left it there, and it was sopping wet.
No. The color looked good on me.
That's why I brought it up. It was orange. So what I do is kind of, number one, I mentally have like preset outfits. And number two, I will, in a Notion document at the beginning of the week, like plan out what I'm going to wear that week.
That's part of your weekly daily plan, actually. That's kind of
nice. Not even a joke because it's Thursday. And I don't even have to think anymore.
That helps me a lot with meals and grocery shopping too. If I do like a rough draft of the things I'm gonna like make for the week, because then I'm like, oh, if I make this for dinner, I'll have leftovers for lunch the next day, so I'll buy this at the grocery store, and it really helps streamline everything and make it all work.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, on Thursday I'm gonna wear these tan corduroy pants and my brown like long sleeve shirt.
Do you need those pants? I'm gonna wash them because I wore them.
She did wear that exact same outfit 2 days ago. 2 days ago.
I'm gonna wash the pants for you.
I would hope so. Thank you. And the shirt too, please.
Yeah.
So if I'm on Sunday, I'm going to do it tonight, plan out what I'm going to wear for the week. On Thursday, because I pack my clothes beforehand because I get up and go to the gym in the morning, it's so easy. It makes it so easy. Mm-hmm. I put them in my bag, and if I'm like, oh, I don't like this, that night, I can switch it. I can wear Friday's outfit and deal with that and then figure it out tomorrow. It's just, I also have a running document of like preset outfits.
Outfits that you like.
Yep. And it works. Like it truly works. And I do the same thing for, I guess if you have a schedule, like routines, that'll do it too. So routines is kind of the second one that I am so heavy on, like preset decisions.
Can I make a comment about clothes, like a tip that I have for people?
What's your tip?
Because this, like, I actually think that this is so helpful in not wasting money on clothes that you don't wear, don't want, like always having clothes that fit together. Is I used to just, as the pastime scrolling on my computer, I would go to clothing stores and I would online shop, and then suddenly it like becomes overwhelming because you have this whole store and like you feel like you're actually making purchase decisions instead of just figuring out like what you like, and then suddenly you're like having to budget and placing orders and doing all of these things. I now will scroll through fashion stuff on Pinterest because it's so much less pressure to like, oh, I'm actually going to make this purchase. I get to just kind of see like, oh, what do I actually like? It becomes tailored to you the more you do things. So there's a little bit less of like an overabundance. And then I just have a folder called Elevated Style, and I save everything that I like. And then the things that I see as running trends throughout, then I'm like, okay, that's a piece that I want in my closet because I've saved a ton of different outfits that I'll use that, or that's a style that I like. Then I'll go search for that actual one item, find the best version of it, and buy it.
I do something similar. I don't like intentionally necessarily scroll Pinterest for clothes, but I do have a folder on Pinterest called like clothes. Never have ever looked at it, but I also have, I'm on my Notion right now. Wait, let me read you out because I know it sounds crazy that I have a Notion of like outfits to wear.
Yeah.
And it sounds like if I have that, like I'm micromanaging my life, but I'm not.
It's helping you.
It's helping me, and because that's like a huge facet and super important to me. So within my Notion, I have...
Notion is like a notes website. It's free. I also use Trello, Trello. Those are two options.
Within my like personal ones, because we have one for the podcast that has all of our different sections and things that we need to like research and learn and plan and blah, blah, blah. But of my personal one, I have one called Daily, and it has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And within that, it has like things I do on those days. So I'll like open it up on the day. Like it has my workout in that. I open it up. I have my whole day set. I can follow it. I can remember what I'm supposed to be doing. And then I have one for work, so anything that I need to be doing for work. And then I have a grocery list that I actually don't use. Then I have a to-do list. So if these are like just long-term macro, like separate random one-off to-dos. And then I have a folder called Things to Get, which is within clothes. And that's kind of what I what I think. So within clothes, I have this running list of like fits that I want to wear or have worn.
Wow.
I have a table of pants, tops, short sleeve tops, and like outerwear. And there's no shoes, but I know what shoes I have. And then I have like a running list of work fit clothes, and then I have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because those are my in-office days, and I like
and then you have wants, which is good.
And then I have wants.
That's what I do too. Like I figure out what an actual what the item is that I want, and then I either like sit on it for a while and like I have it in a note of like I feel like I really want this type of thing.
These are my like things to get.
It helps you always have good quality things and things that you know you'll wear forever. Like this, like I'm wearing a white sweater right now. I bought this like on Black Friday from Aritzia. I have probably worn it about 20 times. I wear it almost, like literally almost every day. I've also never washed it because I always wear a long sleeve under it because it has to be hand washed and I'm scared to do it, but I need to wash it.
I'd say.
Yeah. But like this was something where I was like, I want like an oversized, really nice white cable knit sweater because I was seeing that as a trend for myself. And so I did a search to like find the best one instead of just like randomly buying one, and I absolutely love it. So
anyway, so in my Notion, like I said, the two biggest things that I think take up a lot of decisions for me and that I really heavily value are like clothes and routines. So of the routines, one of my things is daily. I have a daily like routine set, and then my other Notion page is clothes. So I literally have like 4 Notion boards, and that's it. And that's how I organize, and that's how I take a huge chunk of decisions out of my day so that I can focus on like the nitty-gritty decisions that I wouldn't get to if I was so bogged down with decision fatigue.
Yeah.
Before I even got to them.
That does help if you want to outline your week. Like I love when I make time to outline my week on a Sunday because that can so limit decision fatigue during the week and just make you're going to do more things because you have them planned, so then you're just going to show up and you're going to do them more. And you're also going to have more energy to actually do the things versus always, am I going to go to the gym? Am I not going to go to the gym? Will I go into the office today or will I work from home? And then what will I wear? And then how will I pack? Like and then what will I cook, you know? Right. You have those things a little bit more planned for the beginning of the week. Or like you probably have a bit more of a structure of like, you know, every Monday I typically do this sort of workout and I go to work at this time and you know, it's that sort of thing, and it's almost on repeat every week. You don't have to even rebuild it every week or every day.
Right.
It just kind of is. That's your list. And it's okay if you can, like, and Catherine and I, you guys know, are so not like extreme, you have to be so strict to this. It's like, no, this is your outline and then you can flex like as needed.
But for the most part, it's going to happen as you set it to happen.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, if it kind of flexes, maybe you're 30 minutes off or you move it to the afternoon rather than the morning. Or like I wake up and I don't want to wear the tan pants and brown shirt. Like I'm going to wear white pants and a black shirt. Then I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But I feel like you would be able to do that and make those decisions more when you already have made a decision. So on a Thursday, I don't wake up and say, what am I going to wear today? And then I'm like inundated with all these options of clothing to wear. I wake up and I say, just like the restaurant example, I say, this is what I'm hypothetically wearing. And then if I choose that I don't want to wear it or feel like I don't want to wear that, then I could choose something different. So you still always have...
But you're not opening your closet every morning to, I have this abundance of options and what am I going to wear? You're not opening your fridge every day of like, I have an abundance of random food items, what am I going to make? Because you thought about it before and you got some groceries specifically for those things, so that it's a lot simpler. When you go to make something, you have things that actually go together in recipes. You have ideas of what you want to make versus what am I going to make? You go to the grocery store with some ideas of what you want, so you don't walk in there and then have no idea what to get and buy all these things that don't go together and then they expire. Like,
yeah, that's huge. Also, knowing that when I go to the grocery store, what do I get? I get Greek yogurt, I get chicken, I get any vegetables I need, I get any fruit that I need, I get like any pantry staples like that that I may be out of. And then if I walk past something, I'm like, oh, I really want that. I also get it. But I have those set things necessary, right?
Yeah, like you map out a little bit like how many protein sources do I need for this grocery store,
and you just once you subconsciously will start to learn that for yourself. But overall, decision fatigue, when you're cutting out all of the little kind of less important decisions throughout your day, that's when you have a space to make the big, valuable, more impactful ones.
Yeah. Because how often have you gotten, like, and Catherine made the cooking dinner example before, but how often do you get like you're mid-work day or something and you just are exhausted, like you like feel like you can't make one more decision, you can't do one thing, and it limits you from moving forward in a lot of ways or doing a lot of things
or
to
doing
your
anything
greatest
after
extent,
that,
because you've wasted so much energy on all the little things that didn't really matter, and all of these little decisions felt so much bigger than they had to be, and they caused so much more stress and so much more resistance and drained so much more of your energy that you get to something that you want to spend your energy on and you
can't.
drained. Yeah,
you can't. Okay, so I asked on the Girls with Goals Pod Instagram, so if you're not following it, go follow it already. It's linked below. But that's where I ask the double take questions.
We are having a giveaway at 7,000 Instagram podcast followers as well, and we're only a couple hundred away. So go over there.
That too. There's also the TikTok is almost at 10K, so who knows? Maybe I'll throw a sweatshirt out when we hit 10K on that. So go follow and you'll find out. It's the craziest thing. But in preparation for this decision fatigue episode, I asked you to ask double take questions about decision fatigue. So let's get into some of them. How can you be productive in the evening when you're just exhausted? Great question. I think two parts to that. One that we've talked about, you can save your energy throughout the day by limiting the intensity of your decisions throughout the day so that you have energy towards the end to make more decisions and fill your day.
And all that means is if you find yourself like stressing about something that doesn't actually matter, tell yourself this is a waste of my energy. This doesn't actually matter. And
if you spend
just autopilot a decision.
Yeah. If you spend 40 minutes deciding on what you want for lunch, like
scrolling through Uber Eats,
you know, just choose.
Yeah.
Choose some. Get Chipotle. Literally get Chipotle.
Just get Chipotle.
My Grubhub, I opened Grubhub and it goes Chipotle, like your fave, or like your go-to, I think is what it says. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get Chipotle. Like, how did you know? I don't even look at the other ones because I know I'm gonna be. And if I wanted something else, like I would go get something else, but I'm not gonna want something else.
Right.
Like, be for real. And the other side of that is throughout the day, beyond decisions, you're gonna like expend energy and be tired at the end of the day. And sure, coming home and like crashing and doing nothing is lovely some days, but every single day or most days or way too often, you're gonna feel gross, like you're gonna feel not good, like your energy is gonna go down. Your like baseline energy level is gonna go down if you don't keep it up.
Yeah.
So having some set things. So like when I come home, number one, leaving the office and like my walk home from work, I can be so dead at 5 p.m.
And the walk
and I can be absolutely up at 5:30 because I'm out and about, like I'm second wind. And then I come home knowing what you're gonna make for dinner. Like if I know I'm gonna come home and make like salmon and rice and broccoli, and then I can go and do it and spend energy enjoying it. Mm-hmm. Or if you know like, oh, when I come home, I go to the gym, I stretch, I watch this specific TV show, like I read this book, I clean my apartment. Like even if it's little tasks that are like seemingly routine and foundational and dare I say boring, like they're not, but to some people they might be. Having those set, and you take the decision fatigue out of what you're going to do when you get home from work or in the evening when you are exhausted, that opens you up so much to being able to actually do those things.
Mm-hmm. Also, I think like defining what productive at night means. I don't often want to be that productive at night, you know, like in terms of working or anything. I just want to do my self-care and make a good dinner, but sometimes I'm too exhausted for that. So ways that you can, one, conserve your energy, but also streamline those things, like by already knowing what you're going to make, by like getting excited about the book you're going to read or the show you're going to watch. Or honestly, if all else fails, just put some music on because that'll energize you back up a little bit.
Similar question that I feel like we've answered or talked about a lot, even in examples, is can't decide out of so many recipes, so I end up with the same lunch or dinner every day. This is where I think it can be helpful, oh my goodness, to make a list or make a schedule. Mm-hmm. So maybe don't book yourself out for like a new recipe every single day, but if you have a list of recipes or saved recipes that you know you want to make, you can be like, oh, on Tuesday I'm going to have a little extra time, like let me try out this salmon, rice, and broccoli recipe that I saw. Yeah. And then on Friday, I'm going to make this homemade curry that I saw and saved a recipe. And then in the days in between, you can like stick to making the same thing, like do your thing. Having a list listed out, planned out, scheduled almost, so that is what you're doing. You don't have to waste energy getting yourself to do it. Like, it's you set it and you forget it and you go do it and you enjoy it and you eat such a good meal and now you have a new recipe unlocked to make every single day.
I think if you expect yourself to make like every single recipe that you save on Instagram, you're just gonna overwhelm yourself. Like, save things that you like as inspiration, and then before you go to the grocery store, scroll through that and decide what of those things actually would you like to eat this week and seems realistic for you to eat, and then buy those groceries. If you every day are like, what am I gonna make? And then you just have an abundance of thoughts and then you have to go buy the ingredients for it every time, it's not gonna happen, and you're just gonna end up making the same simple things, and like eating the same things is not a problem at all. But if you want to try new things, make it simpler for yourself by narrowing down, you know, what you actually want. Like, follow people whose recipes are actually realistic for you to make, so that the ones that you're saving are all actually in your realm and are not overwhelming. And then, you know, look at those before you grocery shop so that you actually have the ingredients for them ready for you.
This question I think is so cool. Instinct or logic when you're making a decision? You can logic the fuck out of a question and then make the wrong choice. I think instinct.
Yeah.
Because regardless, like, you have an instinct, someone asks you a question or you're riddled with a question, you have an instinct back in your mind. You can logic yourself, like, left, right, and center. And then say you make a decision that supports your instinct, you're going to be happy. Say you make a decision that doesn't support your instinct, you're probably going to feel a little bit off or weird. And that's when I'm like, oh, maybe my instinct was right. And there's a difference between, like, instinct and knowing what's right and wrong. Because you can, we've talked about this a lot actually this week, is making a decision and sticking to it. Like, if you put a lot of thought into making a decision, maybe it has a big impact on, like, your life. Stick with it. Let it play out. It's not going to be easy. Like, making big questions is never easy. And, like, making big changes is never easy. You have to commit to it and let it play out. If it plays out in a way that wasn't the best, go change it.
Yeah.
Change it after. But you have to let it play out. Because if you don't let it play out all the way through, you're never going to get over the, like, little hiccups and road bumps and things that are naturally going to happen when you make a big change. So you never get to see the actual benefits if you don't stick with it. So the difference between, like, instinct and logic in that sense is instinct is, like, your gut feeling, what do you know is right. That's different. I feel like if you make a decision and it's a little bumpy as it plays out, that's not, like, your instinct being wrong. That's just
life unraveling.
So I think instinct, like, your instincts are so strong. Well, I think you have to stick with them.
I think when we try to logic things too much, that's when we start overthinking and overwhelming ourselves with the little things. So I think the little decisions, instinct immediately, you know, like, but obviously backed up by logic. Like, when it comes to, like, your actions, it's not like you're not gonna go totally crazy and, like, I don't know, act like an animal or anything. Like, you're gonna, like, trust that your instincts are gonna be positive for you and are gonna be the right things, but you don't need to try to over logic every single decision. And then when it comes to the big decisions in life anyways, like, I think what we were talking about recently was, like, if you're breaking up with somebody, it doesn't necessarily, like, that doesn't mean that it's not going to hurt regardless, or, like, be, like, a difficult thing to go through regardless. But if you trust your instinct rather than, like, logically being like, well, what are the pros and cons? Like, usually that's a situation where, like, it just is your instinct. It doesn't mean you're going to do that and immediately feel positive. Like, it's still going to be tough. So sometimes the right decisions, the ones where you trust your gut and you make the decision that actually feels right, it doesn't immediately play out to be perfect. And so you need to know that that doesn't mean that your decision was wrong.
And when you break up with someone, because that's the situation that we're talking about this in, you don't just break up with them and immediately be like, oh, I feel so much lighter. Like, you might if it's, like, a toxic, not good situation, but it doesn't just immediately go away. Like, you still have good memories and, like, good feelings connected to that person. That's when instinct, like, you know if you should or shouldn't break up with someone, like, in the back of your mind, I promise you do. And then logic would be sticking with it, letting it play out, like committing to your decision. And say you break up with someone, you commit to your decision, give it like a year, like 6 months, and then if you want or feel like going back to them, getting back together is a good decision, like you're more than welcome to. The world is your oyster, but you have to let it play out, and you have to commit to it and like feel it and live it and let your decision be in order to actually see the benefits of it.
I think a big way to stop stressing yourself out and exhausting yourself over decisions is to just trust yourself. Whether it's some big life-changing decision and you don't know how it's going to work out and it's going to cause this huge unraveling one way or another, make your choice and trust yourself and stick with it. And then with all your little decisions during the day, just trust that you're going to do the best things for yourself and that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. Because then you're not going back on yourself and you're not having to remake the decision every day of, am I going to go for my walk? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? Like, just, if you say you're going to do something, do it so that you can build trust with yourself and you can trust that when you make these little and big decisions, you're doing it like with your best interests and that things do work out for you.
Fatigued about deciding between career priorities and experiencing life this summer. Experience life. Experience life.
I want to do a whole episode on this
life
before summer happens this year because I want to set my intentions with it. But at 20 years old, I'm very like sad to say that I think I've been too career focused like the last couple summers and have really not enjoyed myself in the summer as much as I should for somebody who has a summer break, because that's not going to be your whole life. And I think that, like, especially working for myself and working independently the last 2 summers, I've tied myself a lot to my work because the summer has been, like, the time that I haven't had school and I haven't had anything else. And to me, I've been like, this is when I can give my all and focus 100% on what I'm trying to build. And that's been so great in a way. I wish that I found ways to taper it back or wasn't, like, so all into it, because I feel like there are so many experiences and summer things that I've kind of missed out on the last 2 summers that I'm like, I'm not gonna have many of those left in my life, so I'm kind of upset about it, and I know I want to do things differently this year.
You have your entire life to work. You have your entire life to give up your summer break, and I'm assuming if you're asking this question, you're a student. You have your entire life to work. You have, like, to be honest, if you're doing an internship, like, you're not gonna get paid much. You're not gonna get paid much more than like a temporary summer seasonal job. You may get experience, but like, I'm sorry, what are you learning?
What do you don't do the internship, don't do that. Like, definitely, like, you make every decision as it comes. However, also think about the grand scheme of, like, you're not going to get much of that summer back and you're going to spend a whole lot of your life working.
Say you're 20 years old, like, you have 50 more summers that you're going to spend in an office or in a job. That's the gross ass truth of it. If you have the option to live it up this summer, get a seasonal job, you're going to make literally the same amount.
Or some sort of flexible job. But I just don't want
like,
you guys
live your life
an office every day all summer and then going right back to school or work like you would otherwise.
Like, you should be ass out on a beach. And that's the truth of it. Like, we love you way too much to be in an office. You guys should all be ass out on a beach this summer.
But obviously, you want to make money. So if it's not a huge, like,
so I'm saying seasonal job,
because
like, obviously everyone,
I'm
not just going to sit here and be like, don't work at all. Like, that's stupid. You have to work to live. That's not realistic. If you don't have to work, that's awesome for you. But, like, people have to work.
Yeah.
Prioritize your life. Like, life experience over everything. And we'll end it there. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys got some good information, learned a little bit about decision fatigue, and start thinking about it. Now I feel like you guys are all going to be, like I am, hyper-focused on when you make little decisions. You're going to be like, holy shit, that was a decision. Like, that just took up 10 energy points.
10 energy points. But then it's just something to think about, and, like, then you're not going to do it quite as much because you're going to notice when you're making these
it helps you be more decisive.
Like, this is silly.
It helps you be more decisive. Because now when I think of a decision, I'm obviously going to be like, if someone presents me with 4 restaurant options, I'm gonna think it over. I'm gonna be indecisive. Like, I could still say I really don't mind. Like, if you have a want, like, let's go wherever you want to go. But now I'm like, oh, it's really not that deep. Italian.
And we will see you guys next Monday. Bye.
Bye.